Well, we got Schultz in the house with us tonight, finally, to talk some Bad Batch. We get to see
Yeah.
his what his thoughts were on it. How about this? We'll let you give your brief uh, thoughts on the first four episodes before we jump into the most recent four. And
Okay.
just very brief, see what your thoughts were on those.
Um, they were good. It was kind of slow though at first. I mean, it was kind of picking up for more towards the later episodes that we're in now though. But it was a little slow at first, so it kind of kept me a little boring in a way. But other than that, I think it was fine. It was kind of just a build up episodes. I felt like to get to the point kind of where we're at now. So all around, they were good.
Yeah, I think that's something we talked about that first episode being kind of slow, but we liked the way it sort of set up for the rest of the season. So I think that the kind of those first few episodes do a good job of that.
Yeah. Also, I think my other complaint with like verse four, I felt like it a lot of the episodes didn't feel like they were like progressing the story a whole lot because they were trying to get like out of the prison, obviously, and then Wrecker and Hunter were trying to find them, and then they all just like kind of like meet in the middle, but it just kind of like just didn't feel like it was progressing the story a ton. Besides them getting out of prison, I guess, but that was kind of my other
Yeah, I
issue
get
with it.
that. Um, I think a lot of it is there's really no. I feel like we're almost rehashing some stuff from season one, where it's like everybody's out to get Omega sort of thing, and
Yeah.
it's almost like you kind of wonder where they're going to conclude all this because this is the last season they're doing. So I think they're trying to set up some sort of framework, but in the end, I feel like they're almost just rehashing old ground
Hmm.
a little bit. Almost like how Mando season one and two were, where it's like, you had everybody's after Grogu, and then season two, towards the end, everybody's kind of after Grogu again. So
Yeah.
to a certain degree. So um, yeah, I don't know. It's I think as we because I think, and we may have said this in our last video, but like I'm hoping for some sort of big conflict between like the Empire and like the last of the clones and stuff.
Yeah.
And just some sort of conflict comes to a head there. Um, if it's just like an all out battle or something at the end would be kind of cool, but it's kind of hard to say what direction they're going to go. But that kind of brings us into these next few episodes at 5 through 8. We ended four with Omega and Crosshair finally reuniting with the rest of the Bad Batch. You kind of get this tense standoff at the end, and the episode ends, and then we pick up in episode five, where basically they're just the Bad Batch is learning to trust Crosshair again, and that the whole mission. They go back to this planet that Crosshair had a mission on in season two, which was one of my favorite episodes of last season. Um, and they have to deal with a giant worm but it's more about the dynamic between Hunter and Crosshair and them sort of coming to terms with his betrayal and can they trust each other again, can they work with each other again. I think that they really do a good job of playing off of that, and bringing it to some sort of satisfying conclusion at the end. But I don't know, what did you think about five?
Thought it was good. I mean, I enjoyed the little action scene they had. They with the worm and stuff. Thought that was cool. Um,
Did it give you Dune vibes?
it did actually. Yeah, now that you say that, yeah, no, it really did. It's very Dune vibes for sure. Um, I think I enjoyed the little bit we had with Hunter and Crosshair with like them like kind of not hashing it out, but just kind of trying to work together. And also, I really love that the fact that they brought Crosshair back too, because he was like one of my more favorite like characters from one season one and two, or whatever. So I'm glad he's kind of like back with the group and stuff. So I enjoy that a ton.
I
So that,
think I think I love his and Omega's dynamic in this season
hmm
because
it's like a father
he's
daughter like type of like relationship almost. It feels like in a way.
but it's a weird one because
It is.
Crosshair's so quiet and sort of broody all the time,
Hmm.
and he's got that tone in his voice never changes.
No, no.
Um,
Omega's kind of
but
like
yeah,
breaking him slightly as well from it, which is kind of cool to see.
yeah.
So
I like how they're giving him a little bit of a character arc where it's like, before
Mhm.
everything happened, he was this sharpshooter that never missed, and now he's gone through all these experiments, and now his hand's shaky, and he can't, he
Shoot
doesn't
bow
have, he's
and
not
everything.
quite, yeah, his skills are not quite what they used to be. So hopefully they're going to build that up
Yeah.
to something. They kind of hint at that with the whole meditation thing at the end of episode 8, but
Mhm.
I have a feeling that he's going to have to make a shot at some point in the
Oh,
coming
100%,
episodes.
probably to protect one of them. I guarantee you, yeah,
Yeah.
where his hand's gonna come into
So,
conflict with that. But yeah, I
but I
agree
do
though.
like the way they played off of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree though. I really do enjoy the Crosshair character development. I think that's probably like one of the better parts of this season as well. I think they're doing a good job with that, and hopefully they keep doing a good job with it. So
It's almost like the way they had Tech in the last season. They kind of built up his character some. One of my favorite
mhm.
episodes last season was the whole street race thing. Almost like it reminded me of like the pod race
Oh
from
yeah,
Phantom Menace.
yeah, that was a good episode.
Um,
That was a very good
it
episode.
was a sort of what some people might call filler, but it was kind of fun, and I just liked the
Mhm.
way they played off of it. But that they
Yeah.
kind of did that with Tech in season 2, and I feel like they're trying to do the same thing with Crosshair here. Is just really give him a
Mhm.
satisfying story arc. Um, I hope they don't bring Tech back because we have too much of that resurrection stuff.
Yeah, I think there's like I've heard rumors of them like people actually speculating that he will, but I mean, I don't know. I think it would be a good thing to like just keep him dead because, like you said, like people coming back all the time, it just kind of gets old after a while.
Well, and and I know Dave Filoni's not really that involved with the Bad Batch anymore, but
Yeah.
I think it just rehashes some things like his sort of bad, if you want to call them bad habits as a
Mhm.
showrunner, is it's like, I thought in season 2 of Rebels, Ahsoka should have died at the very end fighting Darth Vader, and I thought that would have been the most fitting. Like, she sacrifices
Yeah.
herself to defeat her old master. That's it. And then in season 4, they drag her back in through the world between worlds, and
Hmm.
you have some of that where they did that in the Ahsoka show where she falls off the cliff, and they're like, "Oh,
Yep.
she's gone," and like, "Nope, just kidding." And then you know just as an example, I think with Tech, he has such a fitting like final line and everything in season 2 where
Hmm.
he's like, "When did we
Yeah.
ever follow orders?" And then he just like shoots the cable, and it's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it's too
Drops the train.
fitting to me. Those are tragic, but at the same time they're poetic in a way where
Hmm.
it's like you need those sort of really f- final sort of story arcs, those
Yeah.
those those conclusions to the story arcs where it's like, man, that really cuts deep,
Hmm.
and
Agreed.
it's really fitting. Because sometimes a fitting ending is not always one that is completely satisfying, like in terms of
No.
being happy. So
No. Agreed. Yeah. And I feel like bringing it back too, though, is gonna like make that moment not as like I guess you could say poetic or like cool and like really
impactful,
see
yeah,
impactful. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's another reason why I just don't think they should bring him back. So hopefully they don't, but who knows?
Well, and going back to Crosshair, when we shift over to episode 6 and 7, which was a part one, part two, really, really liked those episodes. Those were really
Yes.
cool. You sort of get some deep cuts into these elite clones that were, their brains have been altered to where they're,
Mhm.
these stealth clones, and they can go out and execute these missions. Kind of gives you like Jason Bourne vibes, where it's
It
like,
does, yeah.
yeah, he's these elite agents that nobody else can beat, sort of thing, and
Mhm.
they're tasked to go into this stronghold that Rex and his clones are held up at to get Omega, and so that's kind of a cool little, I thought, a really fun sequence of just them trying to outsmart the guy, and just you find out some little tidbits of information about what the Empire's doing that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, but they seem to be pointing towards this Project Necromancer, which we know eventually becomes what we see. Like we said in another video, for better or worse, it leads to Palpatine's clone in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how they make that work. Because I imagine we'll get some sort of big reveal at some point.
Uh, well, yeah, and I'm guessing that's what the buildup is to basically kind of give you an idea on how like Palpatine was able to live. I'm guessing in Rise of Skywalker because them like That's my guess, at least. I don't know. What is it? I think it was episode. Oh man, what episode was it? I think it was one of the early episodes too, maybe. Where they had Palpatine. No, was it? Oh, it was during the outbreak or the where they broke out of the prison. You know how
Yeah,
Palpatine showed up,
I think
and
that was 3, maybe?
I think that was three or
Yeah.
four. So, but yeah, when they were having Palpatine go over there and look at, they didn't show it. I don't think, if I remember right, they didn't show
Yeah,
exactly
they
what it
were
was.
holding us in suspense there.
Yes, exactly. And so my guess is it's probably gonna reveal how Palpatine possibly was able to, what was it, duplicate himself technically or clone himself, I think it
So
was.
yeah, according to the graphic or the official novelization of Rise of Skywalker, the version of Palpatine we got in the Rise of Skywalker was one of his clones. It wasn't the
Okay,
actual Palpatine. I've not read the book, but I've seen the excerpts from it or whatever. So,
okay,
um, but yeah, that's so. And they supposedly Snoke was like a somewhat failed uh, attempt or something along those
to
lines. I'm
clone
not really sure
Palpatine.
exactly if
Okay,
they're going to explain any of that, but
gotcha. Yeah, but
um,
I'm just guessing that's what they're leaning towards to kind of like explain how it happens and how he was able to do that is my guess. But it also could be something completely different, but that just kind of gives the vibes off for me at least.
yeah, and it's kind of hard to know exactly because like the eighth episode, you get through the six and seven, which is sort of a survive and advance sort of episodes where it's like we
Mhm.
get out of this situation alive and then we protect Omega and we learn to trust Crosshair a little bit more because he sacrifices himself to take down the bad guy and everything and um but I think when we get into eight it's like okay now we're just going to do this little one-off mission of Hunter and Wrecker trying to gather information and at least I've appreciated how even in the episodes that feel more filler they've been like, oh, well, at least they're hunting for information on like why the Empire is after Omega, why she's so important, and
Mhm.
it feels like the story is progressing, even if it's only in small jumps.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, because I mean, like, it doesn't like to an extent, it doesn't like feel like the story is progressing, but obviously is because we're kind of learning new things as we go.
It's subtle,
But
but
it's
yeah,
yes, it's kind of like again, it's just a little slow, but I'm fine with that because I mean, honestly, like this season has been not my favorite season, but like it's making me like after I watch like the next episode, I can't wait for the next episode to come out because I want to watch it. You know, so they're doing a
I
good
think
job
it
with
has
that.
done a good job of keeping people's interest and like you said, giving them that expectation for the next one. Because I think definitely now that we're past the halfway point, I think they're doing 15 episodes this season.
15. Okay,
Um,
it's not the
that
traditional 16. I think then don't they usually? Yeah, it's 16 episodes a season usually.
Well, I know in the original Clone Wars it was like 20 or 22 they
Yeah,
had, and then um, a lot of with the first two seasons, I believe it was 12 each. So there are actually three more in this season than there were in the first two. So,
gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
but yeah, so we get at the very end of eight. They tell Phoenix Shan says if you help me track this target that I haven't been able to get, which they do get him at the end, then I'll give you information to this contact who was in on the bounty that was out for Omega. About and they have information about this so-called M count, which we know that that's midi chlorians, obviously, but
Yeah,
the characters do not. So
no.
um, that's a very fascinating storyline because um, it brings in the sort of um, the scientific aspect of how can the obviously in the cloning process you cannot clone midi-chlorians.
Yeah,
Like they can't take Palpatine and clone him and automatically he's that powerful in the Force. And so
yeah,
there's some sort of process they're trying to perfect where it's like okay, we're injecting these into each clone to try to produce that. I guess they're looking for ones that are compatible with that. Um, so I have been interested in that to see where they how they explain that because I think it's fascinating to me at least. It may not be to others, but it is to me.
I agree. Yeah, I think it is actually. It helps with the story as well. But
Well, I like how they're kind of juggling a few different plot threads too. So, um,
no, they are. Yeah, they're doing a good job on that also. Kind of like, yeah, because I mean the story can go like any way, it feels like at the moment. So it's kind of not pointing in a certain direction, which is nice. Gives a little bit more of a
So
like
your
well,
speculation, the bounty hunter on the other end of Fennec Shan's message, I had a guess that seemed pretty obvious to me, but what's your guess on that? I guess I had two guesses.
oh. Honestly, I feel like I didn't really like listen to the voice or nothing like that. So
There wasn't a voice, but I'm
what
just
was the voice? Oh,
speculating.
speculating.
Yeah.
So you think it was a bounty hunter that she was talking to then?
So
Bounty
in
hunter?
the episode, the agreement is, the hunter and wrecker do the mission with her.
And then she'll get
In
the
turn, she
information.
gives them her contact who was part of the group that was doing the M count bounty for
Okay.
Omega.
Yeah.
And so my guess is either one of two, which would be Cad Bane or maybe
Uh,
Boba Fett.
yeah, I
So
guess I could see that. That's possible. I feel like more Cad Bane than maybe Boba Fett, but
probably, and Cad Bane being a Dave Filoni character, it's
yeah,
makes sense to me that it would be him. But he likes to reuse a lot of the same
character.
characters. So
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, my guess would be Cad Bane, I guess, if we were to pick that between that and yeah, let's say Cad
oh,
Bane.
and one that did not cross my mind, I forgot she was in the trailer, but Asajj Ventress. Um,
Oh,
she could possibly be. I know she was delving into the bounty hunter stuff in
yeah.
Clone Wars. So
Well, that's possible in that too. That would be interesting to see her. But
although apparently a lot of fans were up in arms about that because there's a book called Dark Disciple
mhm.
that's about her and Quinlan Voss, and apparently she dies in that book.
Oh, okay.
And they're basically retconning that. So I think a
Gotcha.
lot of fans were not happy about it.
Oh, I mean, Disney does a lot of things that their fans aren't happy about, so it wouldn't be shocking.
It's not the first time they've retconned stuff. So
Uh, no,
and
not at
Dave
all.
Filoni's gotten to where he's in a bad habit of it because they did like a Kanan Jarrus, which that Caleb Dune I think is his actual name.
Okay,
Um, but they did a comic strip of sort of what happened to him during Order 66. And then in
gotcha.
season two, was it season two of The Bad Batch, or was it the very first episode of season one where they basically played out um his arc in what happened, and it was
Oh,
different from the comic. Um,
I don't think that was the first episode of season one.
it was either that or it was like the first of season two, but
I think it was season two. I don't remember that in
yeah,
season one.
no, I think it was season two.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and then there was one other one he changed. Oh, it was when he did the Siege of Mandalore in season 7 of the Clone Wars. He changed because there's a book called Ahsoka that I've actually read,
Okay.
where her showdown with Maul takes place, and they basically changed um it from what it was in that book to what it was in the Siege of Mandalore arc. So,
Hmm.
which I
Okay.
mean, one of my favorite Clone Wars arcs of all time. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
and I thought the book was fine, but yeah, I don't know.
Good enough. Yeah, I did not know that.
Fun fact of the day. Yeah.
Fun fact of the day. That is right.
But yeah, I guess we'll see on Wednesday morning, or whenever we decide to watch it Wednesday,
Yeah.
where they decide to go from here. But I think so far so good. I'm been pleased with it. So
Agreed.
highly
Yeah.
recommend to anybody that's interested.
Yes, for sure. It's not bad. I think Bad Batch and like Clone Wars are like probably I think honestly they gotta be in like top six, I would say, for like Star Wars stuff they have out there nowadays. I guess not like
Yeah,
necessarily
like
like old.
Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they've done a pretty good job with it, especially this season. They're doing a great job.
I just hope they can tie it all up in a satisfying conclusion.
Same, because I think what this is the final season, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
this is
think.
it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm hoping. Like I don't. I hope it ends out in a bang, and they do a good job of it.
Yeah, we will see.
We will.
All right. Well, guys, if you're still tuned in and you like what you've heard from us, you like what we do on this channel, please subscribe, give us a like, share this channel, comment. Please give us your feedback on what you think, and let's talk about the show a little bit, and let's just swap some theories maybe about where we think it's going to go. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning into the video, and we'll talk to y'all next time.